Hi, I'm Maggie, Mrs. Average Joe Cyclist, and welcome to this short cycling tour from the Convention Center to Science World. And right down here we're leaving at the Vancouver Convention Center, which is right next door to the Canada Place Convention Center, and then slightly to the west is Jack Poole Park, which holds the Olympic torch from the 2010 Winter Olympics that were held in Vancouver. Coming up on the right is one of the most beautiful buildings in the world. It's the Vancouver Marine Building. It was built in the 1930s, and it's a tremendous presentation of Art Deco style right from the front entrance. Just coming up here on the right, there's a stylized flock of geese. Going into the lobby, there are huge brass elevators with amazing sculptures and friezes on the wall, and the floor has a representation of the zodiac. The building has been used in many TV and movie productions and has recently hosted 2 films of the Fantastic Four. And now we are coming east along Hastings Street to join the Hornby Street bike route, which cuts straight through the center of Vancouver and links you to False Creek. And on the right-hand side, you can see a beautiful courtyard. That again, left-hand side is the beautiful courtyard, which lots of people sit and have their lunch when the days are sunny. So here we are on the bike route. As you can see, the streets are relatively free of traffic. Once rush hour is over in the morning and in the evening, the streets are relatively quiet, and obviously that is in a large part due to all the residences that have been constructed in the downtown area and the efficient transit system that we have with the SkyTrain, and also the new bike lanes, which are encouraging people to use other methods than vehicles. Now right here, this woman starts to pull off, and then she realizes her mistake. There's an advance light here to allow the traffic to turn right and clear the area. So you do have to heed the bike signals that are on the street, and make sure you pay attention. And we're off. Coming up on the right-hand side is the new facility of the YWCA. Houses an amazing pool and fitness facility, as well as the offices of the YWCA and I believe the lodgings. And coming up on Hornby Street, you might not realize that you're actually in the center of the business district of Vancouver. There's numerous office towers all filled with businesses, and you can see all done with relatively no use of cars. Coming up on the left is the beginning of the Pacific Center Mall, which covers somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 to 6 city blocks, all below ground. And also now we're passing by the Hong Kong Bank building, and in the lobby of the Hong Kong Bank building there is a huge freestanding pendulum, and there's also often there's art installations. So look through the windows and see if there's something interesting going on, and have a look. On the right-hand side is the Cathedral Place building, and that is home to the Canadian Craft Museum. Again, well worth a visit. And then straight ahead on our left-hand side, we're coming up to the Vancouver Art Gallery. Now, the Vancouver Art Gallery building was formerly the law courts of British Columbia, and they were housed in that building until 1983. The courthouse itself, as you can see, is neoclassical in design. It was built in 1906. And the art gallery, as we said, took possession of this building in 1983 when the law courts moved down the street to Robson Place, which will be ahead. The gallery is beautiful. There's many installations during the year, well worth a visit, and there's a lovely courtyard restaurant, which is relatively affordable and a beautiful location on a nice day. We're coming up to Robson Square, which is the new home of the courthouse, and also has an open-air facility, which is intended to be a town square for Vancouver. This was home to the zip line that was installed for the Winter Olympics in 2010, and was during the Olympic period was always full of people, big screens showing results and events. And now we're passing by Robson Square, which, as you can see, has a very low profile. It was designed by Arthur Erickson, and his concept was to turn a skyscraper on its side and let people wander all over it and experience it. And as you can see, there's just remarkable, beautiful gardens, contributing, I think, to the livability of Vancouver with all the green spaces in the middle of the city. There was an original plan to put a tower on the property, and the government of the day became very concerned that they were going to reduce the amount of daylight coming into the downtown core. And I think this was an amazing decision to make, and it certainly kept the region pedestrian friendly and very open and airy. And as you can see, it goes on for 2 city blocks, housing all of the court activity from small claims to family court to the Supreme Court. Over to the right, you can see the dark towers of the Wall Street Center, which is home to the Sheraton Hotel. The Wall developers are very prolific developers in the Vancouver area and have developed many beautiful residential properties. This one holds a hotel on its lower floors and residences above. In this area of the city is also close to St. Paul's Hospital, so we'll be coming into a district where there is quite a number of medical health buildings and surgical outpatients. So nothing remarkable to see, but again, the trees and the wide openness keeps it feeling very airy. Okay, the bike lanes are relatively new in Vancouver and have opened to quite a controversy. We have a very courageous mayor who has been elected to another term. He has championed the creation of these bike lanes all over the city, and as you can see from the reduced amount of traffic, this is the middle of a business day and the traffic is relatively light. And as you can see on the right-hand side, there's presentation centers, so there continues to be a lot of redevelopment in downtown Vancouver, incorporating as many residential opportunities as possible. And it really has helped to create a very vibrant city, year-round, week-round. There's always people on the street and lots of activity, which is keeping the city very inviting for people to come down and enjoy. You have to watch out for the signaling. Some people are very subtle in the way they signal a turn. Okay, we're coming just about to the end of the fully separated lanes. You're getting into more of a residential area coming towards False Creek, and a little bit of the history of False Creek. It was a very industrialized area. There were foundries and sawmills and ironworks, and very, very heavily polluted, and in fact was industrialized up until the early 1970s, when the redevelopment of Granville Island occurred and the residential development sprung up around it. This south side of False Creek that we're approaching was developed after Expo 86. Watch out for unmoving cyclists in the cycling lane as well. After Expo 86, all of the north side of False Creek was combined into a land assembly and sold to Concord Pacific to develop the residential neighborhood that we're coming into. And I think they've done a splendid job when you see all the amenities down here. Again, over to the left, a small park, just keeping open areas and daylight coming into the area. As you can see across the street, it's pretty shady. This is a four-way stop, so it's not completely protected crossing, but as you can see, the traffic is light. This isn't a commercial area of the city, so the traffic can usually be counted on to be light. And the cycling lane comes to an end here, so you merge onto the road. But again, it's a residential area, and you really don't have to worry too much about speeding cars. You come down to a traffic circle here, and now you're back onto protected pathways. So this area of town is called Yaletown, and it also was the conversion of old warehouse space and these industrial lands, and once again really added to the creation of the neighborhood by bringing a SkyTrain station. Actually now 2 SkyTrain stations come into this neighborhood. So we're going underneath the Granville Street Bridge. There's 3 bridges that travel from the downtown core of Vancouver into the south side of Vancouver. That's the Burrard, the Granville that we're going under, and then further east is the Cambie Street Bridge. And though you can see the paths are marked for cyclists and pedestrians to be separate, you also have to be mindful that sometimes pedestrians aren't paying attention, and make sure you don't hit them, or they you. The area of False Creek now, which was previously industrial, as you can see, is home to marinas. You'll come past more than one marina on this ride. Beautiful park. I believe this is David Lamb Park, which hosts open air concerts during the Jazz Festival that's held in Vancouver each June. I'm not sure if you can see it, but in this area also is the Roundhouse, which is a community center. They have presentations as well as fitness facilities. And you can see there's some boats moored in False Creek. There are actually liveaboard vessels in the creek, and they use their dinghies to get back and forth to the shore. And across the way, you can see the marina to your right. That is part of the old development that was in the 1970s as part of the Granville Island Market Redevelopment Project. That was the housing and marina that were developed on those old industrial lands. Beautiful condos on the left there. Imagine sitting out there and enjoying the view. Lots of open space and parks for families to enjoy. And now we're coming up into an area that has sports fields for soccer, rugby, field hockey. Now, when you look to your right across False Creek, you're coming into an area that is the site of the former Athletes Village for the 2010 Olympics, and it's now been developed into one of Vancouver's newest neighborhoods, the Olympic Village, with a reasonable number of towers and, again, open spaces. The seawall continues all the way around False Creek, so you could even extend your ride past Science World if you were feeling energetic. And coming up on another marina, Vancouver loves their boats, Vancouverites. And right in this area, if you're having any trouble with your bike or you have a flat tire, there is a bicycle shop just over to the left called Reckless Bicycle Shop. You can stop and get air, any accessories you might need. And now right ahead of us is the Cambie Street Bridge that I was mentioning earlier. And this was also completely redesigned and reopened just before Expo 86. And the Cambie Bridge also has a separated bike lane that you can travel over it quite safely. Now, the area that we're coming into now has been named the Theatre District. So you can just see coming into view on the left-hand side is the BC Place Stadium. And that's home to the British Columbia Lions, and it holds about 60,000 people. So they have venues like home and garden shows and boating shows there as well. In the right, you can see the Science World, the silver golf ball at the end of False Creek. That was also an installation that was done for 1986 Expo. And in the foreground here, there's BC Place on your left. Just behind these trees, we're going to come up to the BC Enterprise Centre, which was the former BC Pavilion as part of Expo 86. So quite a legacy that fair left to Vancouver in creating these beautiful sites. And again, you're looking at the BC Pavilion. And Expo 86, for those of you that don't know, was the World's Fair, and the theme was transportation. So our SkyTrain system was also opened from downtown Vancouver to New Westminster during that fair. And it's also open right next door here on the right again to the Plaza of Nations, which was a glass-covered open-air theater, and it's still in use today for various numbers of festivals. Straight ahead of us now, slightly to the right, you can see the Rogers Arena, which is home of the Vancouver Canucks, former home of the Vancouver Grizzlies when they were here before they moved to Memphis, and many concerts. And as you can see, there's some vacant land here to the left. The creation of the expo, the north side of False Creek, has been moderated. They've taken their time in filling it in and deciding exactly what the appropriate use was. This land is a legacy left over from the Vancouver Molson Indy, which was a car race that was held in September every year. And as the neighborhood filled up with residences, there started to be more and more complaints about the noise, and so eventually the city no longer granted permission for them to hold the Indy. And just on the left here, we're passing by the offices of Concord Pacific. That's the developer of the expo lands. The property was sold off in one parcel to ensure that there was a master planned and continuous quality of development, as opposed to parceling it out to numerous small developers. And again, to your left, you can see it's still the Indy. And in your left, you just saw the tracks. That is the SkyTrain, which is heading out of Vancouver from the waterfront station, and there is a station here at Science World. And as I mentioned before, there's another station back in the False Creek lands, which was the stadium station. So we get a lot of our people coming in and out of the city for sporting and musical events using the SkyTrain, which again reduces the amount of cars coming into the downtown core. So coming up on the right-hand side is Telesphere, which is home to Science World. Definitely a must-see, so lock up your bike. There's something for everyone. If you're tired after cycling and walking through Science World, you can cross the street and take the SkyTrain back to the downtown. And this is the end of our tour. There's many more things to see at our website, www.averagejoecyclist.com. Thank you for joining me.